Sometimes you need to take a step back so that you can take a step forward. And I want to thank, normally I would say right-hand man, but in this case, it's the right-hand woman, which is Alexandra, because we had a conversation on Friday and we said, now it's time to take that step forward. We've taken a step back and now it's time to take that step forward so that we can get to the next level. And let me get rid of the wait. So today's topic is that quantum leap, the financial quantum leap. That's what we want to speak about today. You know, on the conversation that myself and Alexandra had is, and one of the things we were speaking about is, whenever you have a challenge, one of the things that I do is I go and learn about how to overcome that challenge. I want you to make this a habit of yours. If you have a challenge, go and do the work. And that doesn't mean just building, that means the information. Grow personally. It means there's new information that you need so you can go to the next level anytime you have a challenge. Okay. And Alexandra, anytime you want to jump in, just jump in. I know you've got a lot to share in terms of value when it comes to this. But something I want you to understand is, and this is more around value. I want you to understand something. There is two ways you can earn money. You can earn from doing the work and you get paid. But also you can earn from being in an environment where you're learning from someone that allows you to get paid later on. Does everyone understand what I mean by that? I'm going to give you an example. So there's a company called, everybody understands and this is a rich dad, poor dad concept that I'm talking about right now. If you haven't read that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, I highly recommend to read it so you understand where we're going in terms of increasing your financial IQ. Understanding value. Sometimes there is value right in front of you, but you can't see it because of the lack of information. Okay. And so what I mean by this is the rich dad is someone that understood delayed gratification. And this is a philosophy of rich people. They understand delayed gratification. The poor dad wanted instant gratification, needed to be paid there and then. Okay. Now, 95% of people, that's the mindset they have. That I need to be paid right now. If I do work today, I need to be paid tomorrow or by the end of the day. And it's okay if you still have that mindset. But I want to share with you. So there's a company called Dojo. Okay. Anybody heard of Dojo? It's a card reader. Anybody heard of it? No. Okay. So I want to tell you the story of how this company came about. Dojo is just a simple company that it takes card payments, but it's a card reader that you can take anywhere pretty much, and it picks up signal anywhere to take a payment. But the person who started the founder of the company, I can't remember his name off the top of my head now. He actually went to America for 3 months. And he actually spent 3 months watching Jordan Belfort. He said, I don't want to be paid. I just want to see how you operate. He went to him and said, I do not want to be paid. I will work hard Monday to Friday, every week, even on weekends when you need me. I just want to see how you operate. And because of that, this was about 3 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago. Dojo is the fastest growing card reader company in the world. Now, let me ask you a question. How many people are going to go and work for 3 months with no pay? The reason why people don't do that, or they don't understand the value of being around high performance individuals. That is why people are not willing to do that. I'm sharing this with you because most of you have been brought up with a mindset of, why would I pay to go and learn from someone that earns more money than me? They're just taking my money. That's why there's many people, I know most of us on this call, that won't go to an event. A Boomerang event, go to a Grant Cardone event, anywhere that they can educate themselves and be around high net worth people. It's not because of money, they just don't understand the value. I'll share with you why. Most people are more willing to exchange with money for entertainment than for education. And I want you to start paying attention to this. Do you know when Beyonce's tickets for her concert came out, it was around £2,000 to £3,000 per ticket, and it sold out instantly? Why is it that people are quick to make decisions when it comes to spending money on entertainment, but when you ask people to invest money on their education, they take time to make a decision? Most people. It's because they don't understand value. I want you to adopt this mindset. And there's something that I read, and I made a note of it. It says poor people are poor because they have more problems than solutions. Rich people are rich because they have more solutions than problems. I'm going to say that again. Rich people are rich because they have more solutions than problems. A solution-oriented mindset, 100%. Now, if you have a problem and you don't understand, you can't find the answer, do you now understand the value of going to pay for someone that has your answer for the problem that you have? This is why Mr. Bugs paid to be in the room with a hedge fund manager who oversees billions of dollars in hedge funds, just for a small bit of information, which was, what are they investing in next? Where do they see the financial market going? He paid tens of thousands of dollars just to be in a room for one day for that information. Why? Because he understands value. this call is about increasing your financial IQ. Okay. And Alexandra, and like I said, jump in it anytime you want to. But I want you to adopt that philosophy. Because when you understand that philosophy, that is why you will learn how to trade. If you understand that you can learn a skill that can pay you thousands a day, tens of thousands a day, 100,000 a day, and it's going to cost you $179 a month and a few boot camps. Is it worth it to have a skill set like that can pay you for the rest of your life, and your kids can also learn this skill set? And so I'm sharing this with you because this is why I will never stop investing in my own personal education, because I understand the value.
If I may say, Rowan.
Go for
it. Exactly, this resonates with, if somebody would ask me, what do I see the biggest value? Why did I join? So my answer definitely is the environment of growth and learning. When I joined to make percentage. Okay. You know that. Yeah. I will be very honest. I was not going to build a team, tell anybody, nothing like that. I was broken and just didn't care at that moment. But as I am here longer and longer, the more I start understanding the value of the surrounding, of the environment, that changes me mentally, financially, spiritually, relationship-wise. And if that cost is $150 or $200, it is really for free. And I understand that some states, or sometimes $200, it sounds like, or $1,000, it sounds like a lot at the beginning only. But right now, I start completely understanding. If I had extra 100,000 and I can spend time with somebody that shows me where the financial market is heading for one day, if I pay 100,000, I would. Absolutely, I understand it, because I know it can make me millions. And because the difference between our mindset when we enter this environment and where we are heading is so huge. I understand that somebody can see $1,000 as a big amount, or monthly a couple hundred as a big amount, but really it's nothing. And it stands to the decision that I will stay until I become who I want to be, right? No matter what. And if I can hold this goal in my mind, like there is no other way, I'm not trying this. I see that this environment produces what I want to become, not only financially, because if it helps me understanding my power, that we are not really learning as much as unlearning. Unlearning, when we were born huge beings, and somebody made really good effort to make us really small, and it all comes to faith in myself. Before anything, faith in myself. And if I grew in an environment that was taking the faith away from me, one way or another, it just happened, then I need to spend a lot of time, whatever is needed, in an environment that supports my faith. And everybody's journey is a little bit different, but a little bit, because the pattern actually is the same. We're all the same. And I was speaking with my son few days ago, and he actually told me about his first year in volleyball. But he's like me. It's his dream, it's his passion. He knows what he wants. So he doesn't take it just a hobby, right? He wants to be the best he can. So he really analyzes every game. He comes home and he tells me, today I was running to the ball too soon. So next time I'm going to run much slower so I can touch the borders from running too fast and running too slow so I can find the exact pace. I will never make the same mistake again, he says. I will rather do the second extreme, but I want to, yes. So he plays with it and figures it out. And what he says was a very interesting thing. He said, my first year in volleyball was first months, it was up and down and up and down and up and down. And many of you can relate with this, right? Burning accounts, being crazy about losing money, not believing I can do it. Some days horrible, some days crying, right? We can all relate. And I can relate as well. When I burned my account, I thought I would die. So, so there was the huge up and down, and I'm speaking mainly to people that are here for quite some time, because I sense something, and usually when I sense something this strong, it usually ends up that it will happen. And what I sense right now, because my son continues after up and downs, there was a very, very long time where almost nothing was happening, right? Like almost like this, like no change at all. For months, like for half year, it seems like no change. Even I am going a little bit down. Can you relate with this in your journey with us? So I definitely can. It was my half year. I felt like not much is happening. Actually, I'm going a little bit down. Sometimes I look at the chart, I don't even see anything, or I speak to someone and I cannot get my message through like I used to maybe before. And he said, this was happening, and it was the hardest, Mom. It was harder than up and downs. But all of a sudden, shoot, like I've improved as a matter of hours. I saw my huge improvement. Even now, the trainer is giving me as an example, and I'm one of the newest guys there. And I sense that the quantum leap for many of you is happening right now. And it's just natural process for everybody that will not quit. That's why my first advice is don't quit. Never, never, never quit, because it will happen. And what I would suggest, because the quantum leap is coming, is in the air, what I would suggest is something that I read a couple of days ago, is from the book Think and Grow Rich. And who read it, you remember the story where there was a little black girl that in America, where it was normal to beat people or whatever, would come to a white older man. She would, walk into the barn. He was busy, and she would just stand there and say, my mom is sending me to get the 50 cents from you. And this old grouchy man said, just get away, no way, I'm not giving you no money. And, she said, okay, but she just stood there and she was staring straight at him. And at the point where he got really nervous, and in his mind, he was about to kill this little child. Actually, he grabbed some stick and he said, get away, or I kill you. Actually, it was normal. And as he was walking towards her, the little girl would just stand there. She would not back off one step, and she would scream, I must get the 50 cents for my mama today. And she yelled it. and she basically faced death. And at that moment, the old man just turned into, turned into an angel. He grabbed 50 cents from his pocket. He gave it to her. She walked away, and he just sat down and stared and was thinking about what just happened. What power actually stopped this furious man? And why I'm saying it is that sometimes before the last quantum leap happens, and I'm really giving you something very valuable, as I feel, because it took me many years to actually find this out, is before the quantum leap happens, it might be like the life demands one last push from you, like a really, really strong one, like when a woman is delivering a baby and they tell her, one last push, you do it and it's done. It's done. But you just have to walk towards your happiness. You just have to walk towards it and say whatever it takes. And that's the last push for the quantum leap, as I feel. And I really think this is just happening right now. And many, many things are coming because I see this, and many of you start to see this as well, or see it already. And when more people see the same picture, it's just going to happen. It's already in our vision. It's already in our spiritual eye, and it's going to happen. So I just want to prepare you. There is going to be quantum leap, and many of you may be a part of it, will be part of it. So the advice is just, decide whatever it takes. It's, just go towards your happiness and your quantum leap. One last thing after this story ended, actually there was another story that similar understanding, where the guy, after understanding that no is not an answer, actually built a huge multi-million-dollar company with some life insurance. And he said that almost every client that he's got was a client that said no first. Almost every client that he's got, and he became a multimillionaire, said no first. So I would say maybe we need a little more endurance and just hold the picture in our mind. I promise you the right people will come towards you. Just promise to yourself, that you will do the last push, because we are all one team. We can have all one dream, and it's happening in matter of several months. It's not going to take long. And you can actually be somewhere in several months where maybe you cannot even imagine right now. And I'm saying there will be people on the stage saying, this is exactly what happened. And it will happen in a few months. I promise you that. So thank you. Thank you for having the opportunity to share.
And I want to thank you for sharing, Alexandra, because I remember that story. And there was one part of that story where the old man, he had a friend with him in the barn, and the friend said, what happened? And the old man said, I don't know. Right. And the reason why I share that is because this is what's going to happen in the next few months. There's going to be people that say, I don't know what just happened. There's going to be people that say, I watched it happen. And then there's going to be people that say, yeah, we made it happen. You just have to decide where in that you are. Okay. And so
if I may
go ahead. Yeah.
decide and ask for advice, if you don't know something, but you have a pull, you have a vision, or maybe the vision will start coming to you next couple of days or hours, and you say, I really want this, but I don't know how. First of all, just ask the question and the answer will appear. But you can also go towards your happiness as far as this, and go ask somebody that has the answers. Go ask for advice. Go ask for what you need to know. For example, if it is regarding building and you don't know compensation plan and you need to understand several things, go and ask. Be proactive. It's your business, and you will feel ultimately very proud of yourself that you went and have been proactive yourself as the owner of your own company.
And that leads me into the next few points I want to talk about when it comes to finances. So there's 5 main points I want to talk about in terms of, and this is all about increasing your own financial IQ. Okay. The first thing you want to do when it comes to increasing your financial IQ is something I already spoke about, is earning more money. And what Alexandra said is so important. You can have two people, same situation, same circumstances in life. One says, I don't have any money. The next person says, how can I earn more money? Who do you think is going to end up earning more money in the next 5 years? Person number 1 or person number 2? This is not okay. I want an answer from you guys in the chat. I see Alexandra's putting number 2. Marketo is put number 2. Jamal said number 2. Elena said number 2. Okay. Rhett has also said number 2. Why? I want you to ask yourself that question. Why? Because the second person is asking a question where they're looking for an answer. The first person is just holding on to their problem. That's where it starts. Do you need more money to be able to ask a question? That is honestly where it starts. It starts in your mind. Not you exactly. Rhett said, no, you don't. You don't need anything other than asking the question. Why? Because now you'll go and you start looking for the answer. You'll start searching people. You'll start looking for books. You'll find that you're just in the right environment where you meet someone that leads you to an opportunity for you to make more money. So you think you're here because somebody invited you to this opportunity. That is partly part of it. But it's also because you were already looking. You had already asked yourself that question. You may have not said it out loud. You may have just said it in your mind. How do I earn more money? That's why you're here. So that is the power of asking a question, just a simple question. Okay. So that's the first step in increasing your own financial IQ. Step 2 is, how do you protect your money? Now, this is a lesson that I've learned, and I'm still learning. Right? But let me give you an example. When you earn income, who do you think wants to take that income away from you? What's your biggest expense? This is interactive. I want some answers here. What is your biggest, when you earn income, what's your biggest expense?
Taxes.
Taxes. Yeah. Government. Okay. So let me ask you a question. If you know this answer, that the answer is the government and taxes, Barbie says children. I understand that too, right? I don't even have kids, but my nephews and nieces, they just see me as the rich uncle and I always have money, right? And my sisters in the, yeah. But if you understand that's the answer, how many of you have studied and done research on how do I pay less tax? How do I give the government less money? How do I protect that money and keep more of it? Do you know that there's people that don't pay inheritance tax? Do you know there's people that don't pay any taxes in the world? Be honest, ask yourself this question. How many of you know those people and have decided to go and get their books and read about how they don't pay tax and they keep more money for their family and for the next generation? Or have paid to go to a seminar of theirs to understand how do they keep more money in their pocket that they earn? Be honest. If you haven't, it's okay.
I didn't know about anybody who don't pay taxes, but I would like to know.
Okay. So the question is now, are there people that don't pay tax? Elena, that's your question. Are there people that don't pay tax? Okay, now who are these people? The person that I shared with you, that the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, he doesn't pay tax.
Who was that?
The author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, does not pay tax. Okay.
How?
Okay, this is for, I'm going to share some of it with you. But as Alexandra said, I want you to be proactive. Okay. This isn't someone where Mr. Hunt or Mr. Nagamar said to me, okay, go and get Robert Kiyosaki's books and read about how he doesn't pay taxes. I'm going to give you a clue. One of the ways is property. By owning property that he rents. But not just what most people do, is using their earned income, buying a property and renting it. That you will be taxed on. But what he does, and this is what many wealthy people do, and this is what I am understanding now because I've been reading many books, is that they borrow money from the bank to buy the property. And then that money that they borrowed from the bank to buy the property, and they get paid the rent, that is now a lower tax bracket because it's classed as debt. And debt does not get taxed. So let me give you another example. Everybody knows Elon Musk? Right. So what do? They have, Elon Musk has Tesla. What he does is he has the asset, meaning his stocks, he shares in Tesla. He actually borrows from the bank based on his assets that he already owns. Borrows money. Because it's borrowed money, that money is now not taxable because it's a debt. Now you have to be smart. You can't just borrow money and it has a high interest rate. You have to do your own research and understand this investment by the end of the year is going to pay me or is 10%. And if it's in property, the actual property value can be going up at the same time, but the investment's paying me 10%, the bank wants back 3%. Now you've made profit on the bank's money and you don't pay tax on it. Is this making sense, or is this going over some people's heads? Be honest with me. Is this making sense? Okay. Now, I'm not saying I understand everything, but I'm learning about it. Why? Because this is something that Alexandra just shared. If we know a financial tsunami is coming our way, would you rather be prepared for it or be reactive to it? Rather be prepared. Why was Alexandra's son successful? Yes, he had that period where it was going like this, but he didn't realize he was just preparing. He didn't realize that there's just 1% he was getting better. You can't see 1% difference. It looked to him, he was the same, but he was getting better by 1%. And over time, that 1% compounded and bang.
If I may say something, I forgot to add. I don't want to interrupt you, though.
Yeah, go for it.
That what he said reminded me of the story of a bamboo. Do you guys know the story of bamboo? Now, I will not be exact, but let me paint the picture. So, bamboo, if you take care of you put the seeds in the soil and you water it regularly, there is actually a period of several years that you don't see anything at all, not a little piece above ground for years. And then in a matter of several days, the bamboo grows 15 meters or so within few days. That's the quantum leap of a bamboo. Now, I believe that we are all the same, from the same essence. And this is how natural laws work. What the bamboo needed to do in those years is to create really strong rooting system. And majority of people don't know this secret, that there needs to be, the bigger the goal, the bigger the dream, the bigger roots need to grow underneath you. And majority of people in this exact time quit, because the quantum leap, the quantum growth then happens so fast. And this is what everybody that have been through it swore on this. It will happen so fast. When your roots are ready, you will not understand what is happening. You will be like, what is it? Where is all this coming from? Where is all this money coming from? This is what rich people describe their process. So, and how do you take care of the roots? Be in the environment and be connected to yourself and make a decision, and there will be many more calls about it, what you can do to support your roots and the growth to be fastest, because we know the answers, or there are mentors that know the answers. They've been through it, and you can just grow faster because of that. So yeah, actually, thank you for reminding me. This was something important I wanted to share. Thank you.
And thank you for sharing that story, because that is the truth about 95% of people that you see are successful. What I want you to do is, the people that you admire that are very successful, whether it's in iBoomerang, we know Mr. Bugs' story. His bamboo tree story was 7 years. He saw nothing happening. And then he became an overnight success, but people disregard the 7 years. I thought when I started in network marketing, I thought, okay, that's just a story for network marketing. Then I went outside of network marketing and looked at Jay-Z. It took him 20 years to become a billionaire. The owner of KFC, Colonel Sanders, didn't become wealthy and become a multi-millionaire until his 60s. I want you to look at the story. Don't just look at the glory of this person is so amazing and they're so successful. I wish I had their life. That's what most people look at. I want you to pay attention to their story. How long did it take them? What challenges did they have to overcome? Because this is the other thing. The reason why the bamboo tree can shoot up to 15 meters high is because the roots are so big. If the roots were small, it would get to 15 meters high, but guess what would happen? The first bit of wind, the tree would just fall over. It wouldn't have the roots to keep it strong when the wind comes. When it starts raining. This is why you have to be not only in the right environment, but you have to be conditioning the right soil. Anybody watch sports here? Okay, you don't have to watch sports, but does everyone understand the term preseason? Why don't athletes just go straight into a season without having a preseason? Because their body is not conditioned to go straight into the season. Their body and mind is not conditioned to go straight into the season. They need to have conditioning first before they can go into the season. So do you think that your mind needs conditioning before you can receive a lot of money financially? You see, I've never wanted to be someone that receives a lot of money without understanding what to do with it. The worst thing that can happen to someone that doesn't have the conditioning is them having a lot of money. Which is why Mr. Bugs calls it the rich fool. Do you want to have just success that lasts a year? Or do you want to have success that lasts generations? Well, it means that you have to condition the soil. Anybody seen a plant or a tree grow on concrete that hasn't been dug into the ground and has no roots? Anybody seen it grow high and live a long life? Or does it have to be dug underneath the ground? And even then, you can't just leave it. You have to water it consistently for it to have the right conditioning for it to grow. So that leads me to the next point. The third point is, are you budgeting your money? Anybody heard the term pay yourself first? Rich people pay themselves first. How many of you pay yourself first when you get paid? Whether it be on your job or your business? How many of you don't understand what it means by paying yourself first? Be honest.
I understand kind of every time I went on the holiday. It is
Mhm.
common to bring the presents, but I bought for me too.
Okay. Okay,
Kind of.
I like that. I like that. Okay, you're close. Do kids count? No, it does not count. It doesn't count. Okay. Paying yourself first means when you get paid money, the first bit of money you use is on your own in education. Because you are the tree with the big roots that can grow 50 meters high. That's what it means by paying yourself first. Because this is what most people do is they receive their money, they pay everybody else all their bills, and then there's no money left at the end, and then they can't invest in themselves. So guess what? The people that you're paying the bills to, they are getting richer. That's why it's important to pay yourself first.
I remember when Mr. Bax was saying that the creditors were about to take his house above his roof, above his head, and he still would go to every event, and he still would listen all the time to audiobooks. And he said, whenever I was driving, I was listening. Whenever I sat down, I was reading. And when I went to sleep, I made affirmation recording and I was listening because I could not listen to my old mind for a minute. And that's the difference between a bamboo growing their roots for 7 years and bamboo growing her roots for 14 years, like it was in my case, because I was not so dedicated all the time. So it's not only about time. People have this perception that time will bring everything by itself, which is not true. You can compound by decision and by doing 100% the best you can. Yes, you can compound it in this surrounding, what we have here with these mentors. It can be so much faster, but you must be proactive, dedicated, and decided person.
Yeah, 100%. You have to understand that paying yourself first, you are the most important bill. And if it's hard for you to understand at first, when it comes to expenses, write down your expenses. The first expense is you. And I don't mean just the exterior, I mean the interior. What is your expense? What is your budget for your own education? So that you can become more valuable and earn more income. So that your brain can solve more problems. Because remember what I said, poor people have more problems than they do solutions. Rich have more solutions than they do problems. I love what Barbary said. She invests in a new book every month. Be honest. Do you have a budget just for your own education? That is what it means by paying yourself first. If you don't, it's okay. I didn't. Before I got into this industry, I thought education stops at university. When I finished university, that's when education stops. I have learned more in my life since I've started doing personal development and investing to be around successful people than I have in the 20 years that I was in education, formal education. So that's the first thing I want you to do. Create a budget. The investment in yourself. Invest in your own self-image. Education first, but also your self-image. The challenge is, this is what happens, I'm just going to keep it real. I understand. When people get married, when people have kids, they put all their money and effort into the kids, and very little effort and money goes into themselves. Them feeling good, them looking good. But guess what? If you are not happy and not operating correctly, guess what happens to your kids? When they get older, get married, have kids, they repeat the same thing. So have a budget of your self-image. For your self-image. Now, I'm not saying go over the top. You don't have to start buying designer clothes. But if you like having your hair done, have your hair done. If you like having your nails done, get your nails done. If you like going for a massage once a month, if you can't do it all the time, maybe once a month, book to go for a massage. Book. When it comes to it, your budget, obviously have a budget for taxes. Have a budget for your needs, for your bills, but have a plan, have a budget. But the number one thing is, do not pay yourself last, because that's why most people don't invest in themselves, because they have nothing left when they've paid everybody else. Pay yourself first. If you can't pay yourself first, that means that you need to go back to number one, earn more money, then you can pay yourself first. Okay? That's the problem for most people, is that when they need to earn more money, what they do is they try to just cut their expenses. You can't cut your, who's ever cut their expenses into becoming wealthy? Anybody heard that story of someone was so successful that all they did is just cut their expenses and they became super wealthy? No. Number 4 is leverage. Everybody knows the cash flow quadrant. We've spoken about it before.
Sorry, I couldn't understand. Leverage.
Leverage.
Yeah, but what it mean with other words?
Everyone's seen the cash flow quadrant.
Aka.
Is there anyone that hasn't seen the cash flow quadrant on the call? Okay, everyone's seen it. There's something, it speaks about being on the right side of the quadrant, being a big business owner, being in that 5% is because they have leverage and systems. That is where the money comes from. Leverage and systems. Not their own personal effort. Now, when you find ways to have leverage, there's 3 main things for leverage: other people's money, other people's effort, and other people's time. The CEOs of the companies that most of us have worked for, some of us haven't, or know people that work for, they have leverage and systems that create income for them. That's the other people's effort and other people's time. Other people's money is where I was speaking about Robert Kiyosaki when he was talking about there was a unit of 300 properties that he borrowed the money from the bank to buy the 300 properties. The bank was charging him 3% interest. He had made 10% interest, 10% profit on those 300 units. but he was able to also control the leverage. Why? Because he could increase the property by making it slightly nicer to live in. And he would slowly increase the value of the property, which meant that he could slowly increase the rent. Now tell me, can you slowly just increase a salary? Are you in control of that? Are you in control of a salary? No. Nothing wrong with it, but understand there is laws. There is, just like there's a law of gravity, there is a law of creating wealth. You cannot create wealth without leverage. And so it's important you understand, okay, well, if I want to earn more money and I want to become wealthy, I need to find ways that I can leverage. There's a guy called John Paul Getty, and he said, I would rather earn 1% of 100 people's effort than 100% of my own. I would rather earn 1% of 100 people's effort than 100% of my own. The problem is that most people earn money based on their time. The problem with that is that your time will eventually run out. So if it's based on time, that's not a great strategy. When you have leverage and systems and leverage can continue longer than you can. How is it that the Lehman Brothers or BlackRock investment bank in the US is close to 200 years old? Do you think that the person who created that bank is 200 years old, or are they already dead? They're dead. But they created a system and leverage that allowed that income to keep continuing even after they're gone. And so the last thing I've got here, this is the fifth step, and probably this for me is the most important step. Improving your financial information. For me, this is the most important, because what I'm sharing with you right now, I didn't learn this in school. Also, no one just came to me and said, I'm going to improve your financial IQ. You have to be proactive and search for the information to increase your financial IQ. But let me share something with you. And this is where I understood that we are all on the right path. Robert Kiyosaki said, the person that has the challenges, that overcomes those financial challenges, is the person that is able to increase their financial IQ. The person that has a financial challenge that chooses not to overcome that financial challenge does not increase their financial IQ. I'm going to say that again. This is what stood out to me. The person that has a financial challenge that overcomes a financial challenge is the person that is able to increase their financial IQ. The person that has the same challenge that chooses not to is the person that doesn't grow. They do not increase their financial IQ. which is why you see people that make the same mistake over and over and over and over again. Because they chose not to overcome the challenge. Once I heard that, I understood, okay, this is why there are billionaires that can lose millions and they don't panic. Because they've overcome that challenge in the past. I'm going to share something with you which is probably a little bit more relatable. You start with a $200 account when you're trading. At first, you feel uncomfortable when you lose $10. I want you to be honest with me. Tell me if you felt like this. You feel uncomfortable when you're in $10 drawdown, $20 drawdown. After a while, you're comfortable with it again. Then you increase your account to $500 or $1,000. Now you're not uncomfortable at $10 or $20 drawdown. It has to be $100, maybe $200 drawdown. That's where you're uncomfortable. But 10 and 20, you're not uncomfortable with that anymore. Now, some of you that have done the funded account, now you're looking at $100 and $200 drawdown. You're not uncomfortable. It's only when it gets to $1,000. $1,000, that's where you're uncomfortable. That's too much drawdown for you. Is it just me that has experienced this, or have you guys started to experience this as well? Right? That is what I mean by increasing your financial IQ. That is what I mean by moving forward and going upwards rather than going, no, you know what? I am not going to ever increase my account from $200 to $1,000. I'm never going to do that. Why? What happens? If you keep your account, let me give you a different scenario. If the person, there's two people. The first person is at a $200 account for 2 years because they're scared of more drawdown. The second person increases their account to, let's say, 100,000 in those 2 years. Who do you think is going to make more money? The first person that decided that I don't want to face that challenge of having a bigger account and facing bigger drawdown, or the second person that said, I'm willing to face the challenge of having the $100,000 account and seeing $1,000 drawdown. Exactly. Number two. So I want you to remember that you can't grow if you don't face a challenge that you're not willing to overcome. That's the only way we can grow as people. If you've had children, and maybe the first child, you'd like, as a woman, your body was changing and this was different challenges. You're now feeling pain in places where you've never felt pain before. I know this. I had a lot of women around me growing up. Now you've got the challenge of there's only certain food I can eat, and there's certain smells that I can't smell. I feel sick. But you have to get past that point. You can't stop. You can't just say, I'm stopped. I want to stop being pregnant right now. 6 months down, I just want to stop being pregnant. Right? How crazy does that sound? That is part of the journey of taking that financial quantum leap. The first thing is to invest in you. Be proactive. I don't mean just waiting for a Monday mind. Imagine if you had just waited for the Monday mindset calls to grow. We haven't had one in about 6 weeks. But I know there's many people on this call that have still been doing their personal development. I can tell you those people have grown regardless. You have to be proactive. Now, there is a couple of books I will recommend. I've recommended this one before. I'm going to recommend it again. It's called The Richest Man in Babylon. Because I want you to be, I don't want anyone to be a rich fool on this call. I am excited about having the most financially literate people, having the largest group of financially literate people in the company. This is what excites me. I can look around and say, wow, they have a record label outside of this person has a property portfolio. I want to be able to point at different people and say, this person has 3 companies outside of iBoomerang. That person have 5 income streams outside of iBoomerang and what we have inside and investments. That person has used the money that they've earned from trading and has bought 6 companies. Do you understand what I'm seeing? I want to walk in a room with, and myself and Alexandra have spoken about this. We sit down with all the leaders and we don't even speak about iBoomerang. All we're speaking about is the different investments and companies that we have bought or we're running. I absolutely love iBoomerang. I love Elevate. But I want financially literate people. This is what this year has taught me. Okay. We need to, I have to do it first, but we need to grow in terms of becoming more financially literate. Okay. Now, I love you guys. I know this was slightly longer than we would normally do. We went over slightly, but myself and Alexandra, we're extremely passionate about this because we know what is coming. And there's a term that good things happen to people that can wait. Good things happen. Anything that is rushed, never worth it. You know, a Toyota can be made in 6 weeks, but a Rolls Royce takes 6 months to make one. Nothing against Toyotas, but you tell me what you'd rather drive. Okay. Love you guys. I can't wait to see you. Mr. Hunt will be doing the trading call at 7:30 a.m. UK time tomorrow. And I want you to come to that call with a new mind of, wow, the value I'm getting from this call is making me £1,000 a day because I understand the value. Okay. Love you guys. I can't wait to see you tomorrow, and I will post the recording on the group chat as soon as possible, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Very nice. I enjoyed to translate it. It was actually very good even for me.